What is up, everybody? This is your guy Cly, and welcome back to Budget Buys. And today, I'm going to be talking about the new limited edition Bugha Gold LED 60% gaming keyboard from Five Below. And as some of you have probably already guessed, this is meant to be a replacement, or at least an alternative to, the original Bugha LED 60% gaming keyboard, also from Five Below. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know 100% if this is meant to be a replacement or an alternative, because these things sold out super quick. Not just on the website, but when they finally reached my local store, they were gone in less than a week. Also, this is actually the first of 3 videos, because we don't just have the limited edition gold Bugha keyboard, we also have the limited edition gold Bugha honeycomb mouse, and the product that really makes me want to put limited edition in heavy air quotes, the limited edition gold gaming headset. This thing has been on their shelves for about a year plus, so they're really pushing it with the whole limited edition thing. But more on that when I actually get to this review. Inside the box, you receive the keyboard itself, the manual, as well as a 47-inch or 120cm micro USB cable. Now, what I'm going to be doing from here on out is just a comparison between the two keyboards. And I want to start things off by saying that of the 3 products in this limited edition line, this has to be the closest to the original. Because as far as I can tell, they used the exact same manufacturer. The only real difference here is the fact that these keys are painted gold, obviously, but also, I don't know if you can see it in this shot, because one downside to the gold keycaps is that they're harder to read without the LEDs on than the black keycaps, but on the spacebar, you have the Bugha logo. You'll actually be able to see that better when I do the LED demo later. And speaking of the gold color, I really do think that this is a paint job and not gold plastic on the base. It's obvious that with a membrane keyboard with shine-through keycaps, you're going to be using a translucent cap that's painted the color you want it to be. So yes, these are basically just gold painted keycaps, just like these are basically black painted keycaps. But this is black plastic, and I think this is white plastic that was painted gold. Fortunately, at least in my opinion, they did go with a nice classy matte gold finish instead of the alternative, which would be a high gloss metallic paint, or more likely a vacuum plated piece, kind of like these dice. Of the two, I definitely prefer this look over this one. That being said, there is one slight side effect, and that's the fact that this is a bit of a coarse grain finish as opposed to the much smoother feel you have on the black keyboards. Now, one final thing I want to say about the paint job before I move on to the rest of the video is that things kinda got sloppy with the gold paint. Over here on the black keycap, you can see that while it is translucent plastic on the inside, the paint was applied quite well, and you have a nice opaque black finish all the way around. However, over here on the gold keycap, not so much. You have a bit of shadowing, because if I'm not mistaken, what the manufacturer did was put the keycaps on a jig laid out completely and then spray them, which would explain why each key has the silhouette of the one in front of it. And all of the edges that don't sit against another key don't have that issue. And that would definitely explain keys like the escape key, which have nice solid edges where it doesn't have a neighbor, but then you kind of lose things when it's close to another key. But I kind of understand why this happened. As far as I can tell, the black keys are done individually on a production line, whereas with the gold being a custom order, what they pretty much did was pop their translucent base keys onto a jig and then hand a spray gun to some random schlub on the production line and let them have at it, as opposed to draining the black paint out of their machinery and filling it up with gold, only to have to drain the gold and fill it up with black at a later date. The money just wasn't there for them to do the whole rigmarole. However, there is one neat feature about the way things worked out with the gold keys that I'm going to talk about during the LED demo. Okay, I might as well do the LED demo now because I will need them on when I show you the function layer, due to the fact that this keyboard is pretty dang difficult to read without them on. And that's not so much the case with the black keyboard, though it is much easier to read with them on, as you can see here. Now, as for what this keyboard looks like in the dark, well, here you go. And I might as well throw in the breathing mode, as well as the different intensities of LED. Also, for the black model, here we have the breathing mode and the different LED intensities. Now, one thing I want to say about the gold edition here, and that's the fact that the keys, due to the paint error I mentioned previously, kind of remind me of pudding caps. And for those of you who don't know what pudding caps are, that's these. They're keycaps with an opaque top, but translucent edges and base. And the effect you get out of them is something quite special. It looks even better in the dark, as you can see here. And honestly, it's kind of an interesting idea to take these keycaps and puddingize them. Instead of applying additional gold paint to the edges to make them more opaque, you can grab some sandpaper and just remove the paint from the edges. I don't know, some people might want to try that. Now with all of that LED talk out of the way, let's get into this function layer. When you hold down function and hit the escape key, that is going to be your grave and tilde key. You can change which one it's going to be by holding down shift at the same time. Over on 1 to 0, you have F1 through F10. The hyphen is F11 and the equals is F12. Y is print screen, U is scroll lock, I is pause break, H is insert, N is delete, J is home, M is end, K is page up, and the comma is page down. Over on O, you have the LED on off, and on P, you have the LED mode change, where semicolon and apostrophe control the LED brightness. And you saw all of that in the previous LED demo. Last but not least, you have holding down function and hitting the Windows, or in this case, blank square key, is going to lock the Windows key, which is very useful when gaming because, as I always say, my cat likes to sit in my lap and to slap that key whenever I'm gaming. And if I don't have that enabled, he knocks me out of the game and brings up my start menu. Not fun. And of course, if you want Windows key functionality back, just hold down function and hit Windows again. As for the arrow keys, if you hold down function and hit W, that's going to toggle WASD with the arrow keys. So these will then be up, down, left, and right until you hold down function and hit W again. And there you have the new limited edition Bugha Gold LED 60% gaming keyboard versus the original Bugha LED 60% gaming keyboard. And like I said at the start of the video, I still have no idea if this is going to be a replacement or just an alternative to. As for which one I prefer, I kind of have to give it to the black one, if only because I prefer black to gold and it's not branded. I much prefer having something more generic if I'm being honest. That being said, I do actually prefer how the LEDs look on the gold model. As for if the gold one is worth the additional $2, that's really on you. Gold isn't a common color on keyboards, so I could see that being a draw, but the side effect to that is the paint issues I mentioned previously. So yeah. However, $12 for a 60% membrane keyboard is actually a pretty dang decent price in my book. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be paying $15 to $20 for something like that, with the occasional model showing up on Amazon for $10 when it's on sale. So yeah, even the additional $2 is not that bad of a deal for the gold model, especially if you have zero personal experience with this profile of keyboard. it's much better to spend $10 to $12 getting your first model that you will eventually upgrade than dropping over $100 on a 60% mechanical keyboard and then absolutely hating the profile. I know it's not for everyone. Now, before I wrap up this video, there's one bit of theorizing that I want to get out there. And that's based around the packaging. As you can see, the boxes are a bit different in color scheme and layout, not to mention the brand new Bugha branding on the front, and even the brand new Bugha Bulldog logo on the back. And that's got me wondering, since Five Below spent that money on getting their graphic designer to change up the template, does that mean they're going to be coming out with even more Bugha merch closer to the holiday season? To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised, especially with how well the original 60s sold. Might I suggest a TKL? Because those don't really pop up in the low-cost membrane circles that often. Who knows, maybe the Five Below mechanical keyboard that the purchasers are supposedly looking into will be part of the Bugha brand. I mean, they've already shown that they're willing to go above the $10 price tag with their gold models, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that they'll bring in a $20 mechanical keyboard, because the whole stated goal of this line is to make gaming more affordable, and that is a steal for a mechanical keyboard. But enough baseless theories for now, because I've got 2 more of these things to get to. So, until next time, this is your guy, Cly, signing off.